Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give our honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well and teach well, and being great examples to us, man. And today I wanted to get into, came across my mind, it was on my spirit to go into, we done came a long way. I'm speaking to myself first and foremost. And it's true, when you come in, hear a few scriptures and it resonate with you, and you'll be wanting to show and tell, show everybody what you done learn, or try to share some of the wisdom. You be trying to tell people this, tell people that, tell them not to do this and do that. And as you grow in it, you start to get more wise. Well, at least more wise at how you present it, or how you go about sharing the information that you have with people. And you get this Proverbs 24:16. And for a just man, in the KJV, Proverbs 24:16, for a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. Like I said, when you first come into this thing, just like anything new that you learn, you're going to bump your head, you're going to make mistakes. Your first time picking up a football, you don't really know how to properly hold it. First time tackling, you don't know the proper form, no weight. You try to grab at the legs and try to cut them off. Basketball, you got to work your way up to learn how to get good at dribbling or positioning yourself on the court, which way to flick your wrist, how hard you need to flick it, how much force you need to put behind it. With anything, when you first learning, you're gonna be trash at it. You ain't gonna be good. You gotta build your skill up, man. And it's the same thing with this truth. Like I just said, you come in, the little bit of information that you do have, you over here trying to shoot from half court. Really, you just need to practice on the layups, getting the fundamentals, the basic little drills, Man, ain't nothing wrong with that, because it's shows that you got zeal. But like I said, as you progress in it, just like I had an older brother tell me one day, that was before I got into the truth. It was an older Jake that I used to work with at the parts store. He said, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. He wasn't talking to me, but he was, because I pretty much, I used to stay out the way. But he was talking about the youngest brothers that were coming to the store, causing a scene or smelling like dope or whatever they got going on. He's like, they don't listen. He said, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. You're supposed to be doing more listening than talking. And that's always been me, though. I'm like a sponge. Because I always listen to my elders. I was raised around, I grew up around older people. It was something else that was on my mind. I was finna say, if it come back to me, I speak on it. But anyway, they say you're going to fall when you're coming into it because it's still new to you. Let me get that, First Peter. This is 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 1. Wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile, hypocrisies, and envies, and all evil speakings, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. And like I said, you first coming into it, and you gotta start slow, work on your fundamentals. Sincere milk. You do focus on gathering all the information that you can, pretty much. Something that ain't too hard for you to grasp. Even in school, you learn the basics first. You learn how to count up, maybe like 1 through 10 or 1 through 20. You learn how to count backwards. And then you'll take what you just learned, and then you start learning how to add, subtract, then multiply and divide. And then as you grow up, you even though you don't need it, you start going into algebra and all this type of stuff. Well, depending on your career field that you choose in Babylon. You know what I'm saying? You keep moving up and moving on. You don't just start at calculus. And then like I said, you come into this thing, you trying to, and you'll be like a line. Well, let me get it. Let me get this first. Yeah, this is Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8 in the KJV. In the KJV. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after the Mashiach. I'm reading AMP. See to it that no one takes you captive through philosophy and empty deception, pseudo-intellectual babble, according to the tradition and musing and mere men, following the elementary principles of this world, rather than following the truth, the teachings of Mashiach. You'll read that, and even with that part, like elementary principles, because we was learning like the elementary parts of the scriptures, and you'll go on the word, because you'll get like Jeremiah 10, one of the first ones everybody learn. Well, for me, it was Daniel 10 and 5 and Revelations 1 and 13. I know everybody got their own thing that drafted brought them into the fold, and Lord will be a part of the number. But mine was Daniel 10 and 5, and Revelation 1 and 13. But then also, like I said, everybody here, Jeremiah 10. I'm gonna start Jeremiah 10 and 1, KJV. Hear ye the word which Yahweh Shem Yahushai speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus said Yahweh Shem Yahushai, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. And like I said, as I just read, just talking about the tradition of men, the traditions of this world, it'll have you all over the place worshiping Jesus Christ, the Easter Bunny. They even had holidays for Satan now, Juneteenth. Not Juneteenth, but Pride Month, because that's during the same month, and it's funny how they threw that in there like that. Because they gave you February was Black History Month, and then they give you Juneteenth. But then they surround Juneteenth with they didn't defile the rainbow. We know what the rainbow signifies, that the Most High wouldn't flood the earth no more. But next time he gonna flood it with fire. But yeah, we continue on. For one cutteth a tree, read verse 3 over. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. You say, well, I'm going to read verse 5 too. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good. He'll say, you get to talk about Christmas, man. And then you'll get to read, I think it's in the book of Luke. It might be Matthew. I think it's Luke. You get to reading about how during the time that Yahweh was born, you had a shepherd in the field tending to his flock. And you're thinking about like around December. It's just process of elimination. It's just like common sense, because our people, we don't really too much care for the cold. You got people that stay up north. They might be all right with it, like Chicago, New York. Just like that, they'll deal with the snow, even though it's inconvenient for most of us, a good number of us that I know. I ain't gonna speak for everybody, but from what I know, the people that I know, don't everybody too much. Well, our people don't too much like the cold, and you had to think about it back then, how much colder it was, and then at another part of the world during that time of the year, you wouldn't even have. Because back then, a shepherd, that's your money. That's your livestock, It's live and it's stock. Like even like now, the stock market, dollars go up and down. The stock market change value. And that stuff is living and breathing. You want to keep it warm. Why would your money be outside in the freezing cold? They'd be somewhere put up in a barn or something like that. But back to Jeremiah 10, like it's talking about Christmas. And say for the verse 3 again, say for the customs of the people are vain. And then you start questioning, like, okay, what's the origin of it? And then you might start doing your homework, come to see that it's pagan, like a lot of other these so-called, they're supposed to be holy days, but holidays. And then you'll start asking questions. Why am I cutting a tree down from outside and putting it in a house? Don't the tree go outside? That's one. Two, why are we putting all these decorations on it? And for me, it was like, yeah, why am I cutting a tree down from outside and putting it in the house and then putting gifts under it? You know what I'm saying? If it's for, because over the years, my people wasn't really, they'll still celebrate it, but they wasn't real big on it like other people. You'll have people, families that'll fall out over Christmas. They ain't get what they wanted. They ain't get all they wanted. That ain't what I asked for. All type of stuff. You don't appreciate me. And my thing about it was, I thought it was for the Lord and Savior anyway. What sense does it make to cut a tree down or to go buy one from a store, convenience, Babylon, and put it in the house decorated and put gifts up under it? And it ain't my party or your damn party. We going to somebody's birthday party and we passing gifts to each other. And then you get mad because you ain't get what you want. It don't even fucking make sense. I'm going to read verse 3 again. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth they tree out of the forest, the work of the hand of the workman with the axe. And I say, really, for the first part, man, it's vain. Now, that shit don't even make sense. And you probably got people to this day that don't speak to each other because somebody didn't get they didn't get what they wanted for Christmas or their birthday, Valentine's Day, whatever. All this shit just stupid. You had somebody providing for you 364 other days of the year. Because we just talking about Christmas right now. 364 other days of the year. You've been knowing these folks for your whole life. And you cut them off because one year they ain't on the 365th day coming around. So we go in the American year, go from January to December. But from December 25th to December 25th, you ain't get what you wanted on that one day the next year or whatever. They'll stop talking to you, or you'll stop talking to them if it applies to you. It's dumb. And then back to growing in this truth, man. You get to reading stuff like that. If you got somebody you dealing with, just speaking for myself, for example, told her I wasn't celebrating no more. Showed her that, break it down to her like in the same way I just said. I got you all of the 364 days of the year. You shouldn't be worried about that one day. And I could it was another way. It was another way I said it. I told her, she's like, she said, so if I get you something for Christmas, you ain't gonna take it? And I had told her like, nah, I fuck around, throw it away, go give it to Goodwill or something like that. I shouldn't have done that. Because I later on throughout the years, I ran across brothers GMS in Mississippi camp. The brother Abayam, we were going out to eat one day. After camp, brothers got together. We met up there to go get something to eat. We walk into the restaurant. I don't know how the conversation came about, but yeah, we got into it on the way up there, and he was like, man, yeah, I done bumped my head before too, man. And I told him the same thing that I just spoke on. And like, yeah, man, somebody get you something, just accept it, bro, with a smile. Because you don't want to come off the wrong way. Still want to show you gratitude because everybody ain't meant to know what you know, or they ain't gonna receive it. So you say, just take it with a smile on your face. And if they still, I think the scriptures talk about that too, man. As long as she pleased to deal with you, bro, it's all good. Now I look back on it, she wasn't even really just tripping like that on it. She was just asking because she, if she did still give me something, they be caught up in it. If she give me something, I could have just took that gift, man, and kept on moving and still did what I had to do. You persuade people through your conduct, man. That the scriptures speak on. But it go back. I ain't even I had it in both of them. That's a right. Chapter 4. No, yeah. I'm started Sirach chapter 4, and I'm gonna start at verse 28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. Be not hasty in thy tongue, and in thy deeds slack and remiss. It's like, be not as a lion in thy house, nor frantic among thy servants. Let not thine hand be stretched out to receive, and shut when thou shouldest repay. The point I wanted was 30. Like for that account right there, I was being a lion in my house, man. And I was and from the verse above that, verse 29, I was being hasty with my tongue. I could have went about I could have went a different way about that. But going back to where I started in, hey, a just man falleth 7 times. And that'll also get you into it's about 23. Well, yeah, it can go with that too. Say, let not thy tongue be hasty. Back in chapter 4, and here it is, Sirach 23:7. Hear, O ye children, the discipline of the mouth. He that keepeth it shall never be taken in his lips. They can be used in multiple ways, but for that example, that's where the discipline of my mouth, how I would have worded it or what I would have said. It could have prevented the misunderstanding. But hey, men's going to the Lord, everything. You can't do nothing against the scriptures, but for the scriptures, man. So those was meant to happen like that, because that was one of the times I bumped my head, like we all do. I think that's one of the songs. No, 37. Verse 20, 23. Oh yeah, this is Psalm 37 and 23. I'm reading the A&P. The steps of a good and righteous man are directed and established by Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and he delights in his way and blesses his path. So the steps of a good man, we directed, and hopefully we them good men, bro. Because I did exactly what the Most High, what Yahweh Bashim Yahushai said I was gonna do, and I said what he knew I was gonna say, so I could bump my head and have this account. Because we all did it perfectly, we wouldn't be here. But yeah, man, I ain't gonna make it long. But we done came a long way in this thing, man. Just when you see this, just think about where you started and where you are now. That I knew it would come back to me at some point. The older brother that I used to work with at the parts store, the older men, he said, the older you get, man, you realize. And this was a brother in the truth that said the same thing after I had been a part of it for a while. I forgot what camp it was, but he said, you notice that, like the older people, they don't even say a lot. They say a lot with a little. Yeah, you'll sit up here when you first come in or while you're younger, and you'll be going back and forth, precept upon precept, line upon line, going back and forth, trying to have a whole book ready for when somebody you come across somebody that might have some questions. It say be ready to give answer. So if somebody have a question, but you say a little, or say a lot with a little. And that's another thing, like when you dealing with somebody, maybe trying to see if they part of the hopefully elect, man. You don't want to throw too much at them. You want to give them something that's like milk, something simple, but it's still effective. Say a lot with a few words, man. But yeah, we done came a long way, man. Speaking to myself first and foremost, where you started at all them years ago and where you at now. Yeah, I'm feel like an old man there. But yeah, that was the point, man. Again, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well and teach well. Shalom.